What up, guys? This is
Cheevo, guys!
back here again with another video. Today we're going to be talking about backwards compatibility. Specifically, we might have gotten a sneak peek at the first game that's going to be added to the backwards compatibility list. Now, rumor is Xbox is getting ready to add a bunch of games to the Xbox backwards compatibility list, both for the OG Xbox as well as the Xbox 360. Now, like a lot of other Xbox players out there, I've been eager to play some more of my old Xbox 360 and OG Xbox games. However, the backwards compatibility list has been a bit stagnant for a while. Since they announced the next-gen console, Xbox Series X and S, they had announced that they were going to pause the backwards compatibility updates. Well, the console's been out for over a year now, and a lot of Xbox fans are eager to get brand new backwards compatibility list updates. Just to give you an idea, I had thrown up this random tweet on October 4th saying retweet if you want Xbox to start adding new backward compatible games again, and over 2,000 people retweeted this with over 3,300 likes. By far my most popular tweet, and it's all because there's a lot of people and a lot of hype around adding new backwards compatibility titles. I don't know what it was with the pandemic, but a lot of people were looking to strike their nostalgia and play some older titles, maybe that they enjoyed playing while they were kids. I don't know, maybe just to remind them of when the world was normal again, pre-pandemic. Coincidentally, later that week, some rumors started to rumble about Xbox adding some additional backwards compatibility titles. A matter of fact, some of these OG titles have already been leaked. Supposedly, some of the OG Xbox games that are going to get added in the next backwards compatibility update are Dead or Alive 3, Dead or Alive Ultimate, Full Spectrum Warrior 10 Hammers, Gladius, Gun Valkyrie, Advent Rising, and bizarrely Chicken Little. Now, this is pretty much all we got in terms of games that may be part of the next backwards compatible update. However, all of these games listed are OG Xbox games. There's no news or rumors of any Xbox 360 games getting added to the backwards compatibility list. Until today, I happen to use this website that shows different listings that go on the Microsoft Store, and I had noticed that Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, quote unquote full version, got added to the Microsoft Store. Not only that, but it shows that it's compatible with Xbox Series X and S as well as Xbox One. And I thought, what the heck? Why are we randomly getting Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, the Xbox Live Arcade version, back on the Microsoft Store? Well, I checked it out below. As you can see, it says available on Xbox Series X and S and Xbox One. Now, currently, there's no listing. This is a private link for the store. You won't be able to find this listing through any other link. For instance, if you search it up in the Microsoft Store or on the Microsoft website, you're not going to find it. You can only see this store page via the link that I have in the description below. Feel free to check it out for yourself, but it is a store listing on the Microsoft Store for Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, previous released on the Xbox Live Arcade. The reason I know this is the XBLA version is because you could tell by the developer. Back in the day, there was 2 Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader games released for the Xbox 360. There was a full retail title that has 1000 gamer score available, but the first one was originally the Xbox Live Arcade version, and that's the version that's associated with this listing right here. You can tell because it's developed by Blitz Arcade, and if you look it up, Blitz Arcade developed the Xbox Live Arcade version. Now, as you can see via this listing, there's no way to purchase the game. This game has been delisted for quite a while, and more than likely it's not going to get relisted even if it becomes on the backwards compatibility list, just because there's probably a lot of license issues tied to this show, being that it was a show on TV, plus it had Jeff Foxworthy in it. So more than likely this is probably not going to find its way back on the store for purchase. But for those that had originally purchased it back in the day, it's looking like we may be able to play this via backwards compatibility once they reveal the new backwards compatibility list. Now, this isn't unheard of, as there's actually a ton of backwards compatibility games that are physical only, or even Xbox Live Arcade games that are delisted. For instance, some of the physical only backwards compatibility games include Battlefield 2, Modern Combat, all 3 Cabela's games, Driver San Francisco, Greg Hastings' Paintball, Peter Jackson's King Kong, Silent Hill Downpour, plus more. And that's not even including Xbox Live Arcade games. There's literally almost 30 Xbox Live Arcade games that are backwards compatible right now and are currently delisted, meaning that you can only play them on backwards compatibility if you purchased them back in the day. For instance, Boom Boom Rocket, Earthworm Jim HD, Toy Soldiers Cold War, NBA Jam on Fire Edition, Call of Juarez Gunslinger, plus more. So it wouldn't be totally out of this world to see Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader, the Xbox Live Arcade version, reach the new backwards compatibility list, because clearly we've already experienced getting some delisted XBLA games to become backwards compatible. Personally, I think this is a good thing. Think about it. If they only added games to the backwards compatibility list that were still up for sale, that would totally limit the amount of games that could reach backwards compatibility. Personally, I want them to add games to the backwards compatibility list, even if they're delisted. For instance, some of us have purchased TMNT Arcade or Simpsons Arcade, X-Men Arcade, or even Marvel vs. Capcom 2 back on the Xbox 360, the Xbox Live Arcade versions. All of these games are super duper classics, but they're all delisted. Just because they're delisted doesn't mean we don't want to see them on the backwards compatibility list. There are a ton of Xbox fans out there that purchased these games back in the day and want to see them added to the backwards compatibility list. So, do I think Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader was the #1 request for the backward compatibility list? Hell no. But do I think it's cool? Absolutely, because I do want to see games like Marvel vs. Capcom and Simpsons Arcade and Tony Hawk Pro Skater HD reach the backward compatibility list, because even though they're delisted, there's a lot of delisted diamonds in there that some of us have in our purchase history, and we'd love to see them become backwards compatible. So a couple things to take away from this leak. First and foremost, it is looking like we're going to get a brand new set of backwards compatible games, both for the OG Xbox as well as the Xbox 360. It's looking like this is going to include a mixture of listed as well as delisted games, both retail games as well as Xbox Live Arcade games. More than likely, this is going to happen at the next Xbox event. Xbox coincidentally recently announced that they're going to be celebrating 20 years of Xbox next month on November 15th, 10 a.m. Pacific time. They did confirm that there's going to be no new game announcements, that they're going to focus on the 20 years of Xbox history. It sounded like a backwards compatibility list update to me, and I can imagine as we get closer to November 15th, we're going to see more and more leaks from this new backwards compatibility list. So until then, hang tight until the Xbox anniversary celebration on November 15th, and cross your fingers that we get a big brand new list of Xbox backwards compatible games. And if you're curious about the Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader leak, I'll have a link down in the description below if you're interested in checking out the store page. As always, I'd like to give a huge thank you to all of my Patreon subscribers. We just hit 16 patrons. I'd like to give a special shout out to everybody in the biggest fan club, including TimG84, AOJ, Kegger101, Kana25, Michael Banksa, and Purple Rain 6. As always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment and don't forget to like and subscribe.